Many thanks again for joining us on the program Politics Today. I have with me in the studio Barrister Daniel Osa Ogbegie, who is a spokesperson to the Asue Ighodalo Campaign Management Committee, especially as it relates to media engagement. Barrister Osa Ogbegie, thank you for joining. Thank you so much. Good to have you here. Osa Ogbegie, thank you very much. Well,
I know there's a certain Osa
is always...
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's okay. Let's begin the conversation on the recent judgment that more or less was like a ripple in the state in the build-up to the election, with some saying, look, the PDP candidate has been disqualified from the election. Others said, no, the judgment or the ruling was misinterpreted differently or wrongly interpreted. What is the true position as it relates to that?
You know, the problem, the reason why there was that report was because a certain lawyer, who was one of the lawyers to the plaintiff in that case, came out outside the courtroom to give an interview and to deliberately misinform the public, probably to score cheap political points, or maybe they told him so that to put our support base in disarray. You know, what the court actually gave or heard was that the plaintiff and the people they were representing were delegates that ought to participate in the primary election of February 22nd. And that the PDP, and there was a mandatory injunction that the PDP should not exclude them from participating in that primary election. That was just what it was. The court did not say anywhere that the PDP candidate was disqualified. The court did not say anywhere that that primary election was invalidated. It said they should participate. They should not be stopped from participating. Now the judgment came on the 3rd of July. That election held on the 22nd of February. It was already completed. It was an act that had already been completed. And by Nigerian Electoral Act, you cannot conduct a primary election at this time. It is time bound. Everything has been set in a timetable.
Okay.
So you cannot reverse what has been done. And in fact, that same court heard in a previous case, I think it was Osage and Enorama, that delegates do not have the right to question the outcome of an election. And even if they are actually delegates and the party stops them for any reason from participating in the election, they do not even have the right to be heard in court. That's what he said. The same judge. And there are plethora of Supreme Court authorities that delegates are not proper parties.
Okay, so why did the PDP appeal this ruling?
The PDP appeal because, you know, any judgment, no matter how bad it is subsisting until it is overturned by a higher court.
Okay. And
again, the PDP contended that the court didn't have jurisdiction to entertain that matter. But the court still assumed jurisdiction. So the PDP had to appeal. The PDP also had to appeal to forestall, mischievous elements from taking that judgment and doing with it whatever they want to do with it.
Okay.
These are election season. So the PDP had to be fast in thinking outside the box to appeal.
All right. There's this talk about a fake voter's card associated with the PDP candidate, Dr. Asue Ighodalo. What is the truth or the myth about this?
You know, I think Edo people ought to know the kind of people we have in the APC by now, because they brought all sorts of what they feel are banana peels, on the path of the candidate of the PDP, because they know that they cannot stand him in the field. They cannot contend with him in the field. And seeing the public because he's the one talking about what he's going to do for Edo people. He's the one that has a plan. He's the one that has manifesto. And he's the one with the pedigree. But the PDP, for whatever reason, the APC, okay, for whatever reason, chiefly because they have disrespect for Edo people, they brought a candidate that is very difficult to manage or to settle Edo people. So they are bringing all sort of banana peas. Now you recall that they started attaching the PDP and its candidate to the case that some Enige instituted against the Oba of Benin. And on the face of that court process, there was nowhere the governor of the state was mentioned in terms of being a party. There was nowhere the kind of the APC was mentioned. But they are looking for everything possible, everything they could do to try as much as possible dissuade people from supporting the candidate of the PDP. So it is this same reason why they are bringing the issue of voters card. If you just take a look, it's easy. Just take a look. Go to the INEC portal and type in Asue Ighodalo. Type in his state. Type in his local government. And probably even his date of birth. His name is conspicuously on the INEC list. So if you say he had a fake voters card, I don't see where that is coming from. What does he need a fake voters card? So you could see that we don't even answer them. We don't talk about them. Because the person even pushing it is the chairman of the APC in Edo State, Jared Tenebe. And that same person.
Did you hear this from
No, yeah, he came out.
Okay.
He's coming out.
Okay.
It's in the video.
Okay.
He said he wrote a petition to the Inspector General of Police to arrest Mr. Asue Ighodalo. He's the one pushing it. About this same fellow, sometime late last year or late this year, came out to say that the then deputy governor of Edo State, Philip Shaibu, stole his wristwatch. And that wristwatch was worth millions of naira. That was going, they are reported to the IG of police. Then that man had immunity. But today, they are hands to hands. They are best of friends. Because that one has been impeached for whatever reason, and is teaming up with them to try and work against Asue Ighodalo because of their hatred for Godwin Obaseki. So how can you take that kind of person seriously?
Okay, let's
a man that said somebody stole his wristwatch. He complained bitterly at the time.
Maybe the watch has been returned.
Today he's coming back, but they've never told us that he has found the wristwatch.
Okay.
Because stealing is even a criminal offense.
Okay, let's quickly talk about the man, Asue Ighodalo. What is that unique thing about him, from your perspective, that makes him the man to beat in this election?
First of all, he has the pedigree. He has shown that he's been successful in his private life. He has shown he's been successful as a private entrepreneur. He has shown he's been successful as a lawyer, as a private businessman, a policy formulator, and a public speaker. If you see him, he's well put together. And, some people said he's too perfect. How can one person be this perfect? Of course, we know that there are imperfections in man. But if somebody has worked on himself over time, he has prepared for this governorship position, for the better part of his life. He has prepared by doing things in the private sector. He's become a titan in the Nigeria business environment. He's become a titan in the Nigeria legal environment. And for the past 15 years or maybe 14 years, he's been an advisor, pro bono, free of charge, to the government of Edo State, advising them in the area of economics, advising them in the area of law, and all of that. Many of the projects that we are backed upon or that we have done under the government of Adams Oshomole and Godwin Obaseki, he was one of those that put them together. He was one of those that got the investors. He was one of those that put the framework together, the policy framework, together. So if a man who has had this trajectory, he has moved in all these directions, and he's been successful, and he's coming, that now he wants to be an executive. He wants to be the chief executive of Edo State to implement all these things he has learned over the years all these things, to implement them. And he's saying that he's promising prosperity for all Edo people who are ready. You know, you could want to give people prosperity. There might be some people who are not ready. But he's preparing, he's promising, preferring prosperity for Edo people. And in his manifesto, there are the plans for Edo people to achieve that prosperity.
Okay.
One of them is job creation, massive job creation. The other one is education. The other one, of course, is health. A sound head in a sound body. And these are the cardinal points that Asue Ighodalo's project, ideology for Edo State are firmly rooted.
Okay.
The man is ready, he's prepared.
Let's
unlike the other candidates.
Let's quickly talk about this.
Yes.
Would you say that some of the shortcomings of the present administration of Edo State under Governor Godwin Obaseki, would you say that Asue Ighodalo haven't been there all these years, will have a fair share of the blames of the shortcomings of the present government?
No, he cannot, because he was an advisor to the government and not an executive. So there's no way he can really, because the governor of Edo State is an executive president and the buck stops at his table.
Okay.
Everything is there. We are not even saying that Asue takes the credit for the good things in Godwin Obaseki's government, but we are saying that he has contributed to them. And what are even the shortcomings of Godwin Obaseki? They are not really visible. Maybe you look at some people complain about his human relations. Some people say that probably he is a bit hard and he's not diplomatic, he's not tactful in engaging. But people have their various personalities and character. The man has done very well for Edo State and for Edo people. That is, I'm talking about Godwin Obaseki. But maybe in terms of relating with people, but not everybody is able to condone indolence. So if you are indolent and the man is not happy with you, he shows it, then you are going to say, oh, this man is not a good person. Not everybody has patience with politicians who just want to take, without putting back. And there was something I heard, he was saying one time, he said, how can I just take money, Edo money, and give to you? What value are you adding to Edo State? What are you bringing? What are you doing for Edo for me to give you that money? And you will never hear, in his over 7 years, you will never hear that Obaseki gave money just to any politician. No. But of course, I believe that he can engage politicians who are business people, who are business inclined. He can maybe engage them in terms of contracts, in terms of providing certain services for Edo State. But when politicians are lazy, they don't want to do anything. The past governments of Adam Shomole, that was like a bazaar, had already spoiled them so much by doling out money to them. We hear all these things, and we see some of them. So maybe they were spoiled by previous government. But Obaseki is serious-minded, and that is why politicians criticize him. You will hardly hear the ordinary man in the street criticizing. They are mostly politicians who will say, Obaseki has not done anything. Obaseki has not done anything. But with all the roles, with all the inner roles. Edo State, for instance, was not even in the top 10 states in terms of WAEC performances before Obaseki became governor. But today, Edo State in 2022 was number 1 in performances in WAEC. In 2023 was in the top 3. Edo, Enugu, and Benue were in the top 3. But 2-3 years ago was number 1. So even today, Edo State is still in the top 3 brackets in terms of performances in WAEC. And the man has grown the GDP, the gross domestic product of Edo State, by over 100%. It's over times 3. There has grown. All these things are not happenstance. They didn't just happen. Okay. They are results of hard work. They are results of good governance.
Are these grounds enough grounds for continuity, as it were?
Yes, yes. Because Obaseki came from a background, a business background. They call them technocrats. People who have daytime jobs, who are doing daytime jobs. He wasn't a career politician. So he has shown by his reforms in the civil service, he has shown with the things he has done with roads in Edo State, not just only Benin City, all over the states, especially the inner roads. The other time I was looking at the road leading to Ososo, and you could see the serenity, you could see the beauty in that road, with the rocks, with the mountains and all of that. You will hardly believe that this was Nigeria. And I said, wow. So there's a tendency in Nigeria when you're in opposition not to ever see anything good about the government in power because you are pushing to take over from them. So you don't want to hear anything. You don't want to see anything.
So as lofty,
but it takes somebody to sit down, because even before I joined PDP, sometimes when I'm talking like people will say, oh, it's because you are in PDP. No, it is not true. Before I joined PDP, I have reduced almost to the barest minimum my antagonism of the government of Obaseki. Because I just sat down and started looking at things. I started looking at the civil service. Before now, 10 years ago, you will write a letter to any ministry in Edo State. You won't get a reply. You will go there, your file, they will say they didn't see your file. Your file will be missing. But today, there's no way your file can be missing, because everything has been computerized. Everything has been digitalized. And you write a letter to them, within 48 hours, they reply you. If you don't get a reply in 48 hours, that officer will be queried. And if your work is not done within a given time, but even the governor, I hear, assesses the things that are going on in the various ministries and parastatals. He's able to assess from the comfort of his office or even his private home. Just by opening the system, he has a password to it. He can know how files are moving, how things are going.
Okay.
So nobody today, no public servant in Edo State can sit on any file anymore.
What do you make of the hunger in the land, in spite of these lofty achievements?
No, Edo State,
there's hunger in the land.
Yes.
The ordinary man can't buy gari, beans, and all of that.
That's why we are saying that they should vote.
What's your take on the governor's policy structures for agriculture? People have talked about, the government talked about sober farms and all of that. You know, there are questions around those areas.
Well, I don't really know much about sober farms.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't speak on that. But, you know, we are saying that they should vote Asue Ighodalo, because when you have a government that comes, that is not from the normal political background. Politicians in Edo State, they depend on politics. Most of them, or most of these political leaders, everything they have, their houses, their vehicles, everything they got from politics. And the people are left to die in hunger, in suffering, in penury. Their children school abroad. When they come back, they put them in top jobs in Nigeria. Abuja, Lagos, they put them in NNPC, they put them in Central Bank of Nigeria. Whereas their followers who have been going with them for years, they are there. And their children can even pay school fees here, can even buy books. Now, if Asue comes, he's going to take Edo State further, higher, from where Obaseki will be leaving it in November. He's going to continue with these projects Obaseki have put in place in the civil service. If another government comes, especially the one that says, there was one that swore that if he does not take care of party leaders, may God kill him. He swore. It was on video. It was on national. I mean, it was on, the video was everywhere.
Okay.
They are going to stop all the gains that we've had from Obaseki's government. They will continue with them because it will not allow them to service godfathers in their political parties anymore. So, Asue is going to continue the good things Obaseki has put in place in the Edo State public service. He will continue with the inner roads, and of course, is going to empower the Ministry of Works. So the Ministry of Works will be able to, it's not everything you give to contractors. Yeah. The Ministry of Works will be able to carry on maintenances, road repairs from time to time, especially when they are bad.
What's your take on the feedback from the diaspora
engagements?
Yes.
Oh, nice, great. Because do you know the diasporans, they've seen good governance in Europe and America. And they crave for such good governance in their home country in Nigeria. And if you know, Edo State has probably the highest diaspora remittance coming back home to Nigeria. And the diaspora remittance accounts for the single highest contributor to our GDP in Edo State. So they are very concerned about how things go here. And Asue has said that it's going to create a diaspora commission in Edo State to be able to interface with the diasporans, to be able to engage with them. And that was why he was able to take out about 1 week of his very busy schedule to visit the United Kingdom, to visit Italy, and to visit 2 or 3 cities in Germany as well. And he takes them very seriously, and they also appreciate him. They also appreciate his industry. They appreciate that he's prepared for this job. And that's the reason why the diasporans have endorsed Asue Ighodalo as the next governor of Edo State. They are fully behind him because they've also listened to others. There are some others. There was one that went to the United States, and it was confusing a museum for a zoo. He clearly showed that he could not differentiate a museum from a zoo. And they were there, they saw it. And from that time, they've invited him, and he has failed to attend their invitation because they feel that he will be more exposed.
Okay. All right, Barrister Daniel Osa Ogbegie.
Yes.
The spokesperson for Asue Oge Campaign Management Media Team. Thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you very much for having me. It's always a delight. It's always a delight to be with you. I'll be saying it here by the grace of God. Once certain things are in place, Asue Ighodalo is going to come here to talk to Edo people.
Thank you so much. Thank you.